Just when you thought 2020 had nothing left to give. At the time of recording this, Naya Rivera has just gone missing.
Yeah.
She was out on a boat with her 4-year-old son. That's all we know.
That's all we know. And then she disappeared.
She wasn't there anymore.
This is your queer story, by the way.
Yeah, but I'm shook because, I mean, you know when why 2020 happened is when Britney shaved her head. Mm-hmm. That just sparked everything, and it's just been going downhill since.
What? When 2020 happened because Britney shaved her head?
Yeah, she shaved her head all those years ago, and then the world's just been falling apart ever since. And it's just like it's like a chain reaction.
Britney was like, I know what's happening. And you guys, you motherfuckers, you think that I'm crazy, but the truth is you can't see what's happening.
Yep. But yeah, so we are adding someone I never in a million years thought would be added to our villains roster.
Right? It's
ever.
Crazy.
Not a single drop of my blood or essence of my soul thought that this person would end up on this list.
Yeah. It's wild, especially when you think of like how much joy. Did you read the Harry Potter books?
I read most of them, but I definitely saw all of them in the theater.
Yeah. Okay.
And they were so magical, and they brought so much like life and joy, and like I could see myself in Harry, the little boy in the closet who came out and faced the world. I don't know. There's just so much inspiration in it. And even then, post the stories, she would come out and say, "This character's gay. This character's this." Of course, when it was popular, you know.
Yeah, we'll
but
get to
nobody
that. But
considered that.
But yeah, no, I mean, so I didn't read Harry Potter. I wasn't allowed to read it growing up because it was witchcraft.
Like demonology books
yes,
or something.
Exactly.
I don't know.
But when I met my wife, she's was a huge Harry Potter fan, and she's like, you have to read the book. So I did. And I was blown away. Like literally,
it's a whole nother imagined world.
I've said that before. Like I have never read a better fantasy series, or I don't know if it's classified as fantasy, but I've never read a better fantasy or really fictional series than the Harry Potter series. Like it was beautiful, and I also like resonated with Harry being rejected by the world and standing up for himself, and oh wow. And so when JK Rowling decided,
that's what this episode's about, by the way.
when she decided that she was going to attack the trans community, it was like my own mother again being like, oh, do you love me? Well, too bad. I don't love you.
Yeah.
What the fuck, JK? Like, it was painful. It took me I grieved that. I mean, I've had months to grieve it now, and I'm okay, and she can go fuck herself. But like when I read those first comments, I was like, I thought I'm misunderstanding. Clearly, like we're gonna explain this, and JK's gonna come out.
You know what? I knew that they were bad, but I thought she was in ignorance, and she was made some comments, and then later would be like, "Holy shit, I fucked up." And be like,
"Oh wow,
I'm so sorry.
I'm learning.
I just donated $100,000 to this trans organization. I'm so sorry."
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, exactly. I was like, oh, as once people reach out and explain to her, she'll get it, and it'll be fine, and everybody be okay. And then people have been calling out some problematic things with the books. But also, there's the point of like, anything that was written last year is going to start to become problematic, because as we continue to grow and evolve as a society, our understanding grows and evolves, and our voices grow and evolve, and everything changes. And so there are things, and I didn't like the way that in more recent years she did start being like, well, Dumbledore was gay. Like, you could have just fucking written that.
Right.
You know, but still, whatever. At least she was saying it now. She was showing open support.
Right. Showing open support and showing people who don't like gay rights. They're like, well, if JK Rowling, who is this famous millionaire, great author, is willing to say that her characters are gay, it must not be that big of a deal.
Yeah, it's something, like, right? It was, you know. So if I'm sure you know some of the story, and we're not gonna get. I mean, I guess we're gonna get into it in a bit, but like, this is a mini-sode, so those are never super in depth. But basically, what happened was, now there were people have said that for years she's made comments like this. I have not followed JK Rowling. I don't know. And like I said, I wasn't even aware of her work. Like, I mean, I was aware of Harry Potter, but I had never read her work or her until 4 years ago. So right. I am way behind on this. So there were some trans and non-binary people that have been like, she's been problematic for a while, but as a whole, it didn't seem like it was like on the level that it is now.
Right. And I've never followed her, and I don't follow many people Like, just because I like your work doesn't mean I follow you. I don't, So I think what the lesson is that we need to kind of be more open to listening as a group of people, because maybe this could have been caught a little earlier.
Right.
And addressed earlier.
Yeah, and that's true. Yeah, we're not listening. So all this happened because in the United Kingdom, a woman named Maya Forstater. How do I say it in Maya Forstater? I don't know.
There you go.
Anyways, she was fired from her job as a consultant, which also people are like, she was fired from her job, lost her income. Her contract was not renewed. Okay.
Right. She wasn't fired.
Exactly.
She just didn't get rehired.
But yeah, her contract was not renewed because she tweeted out, she said, radically expanding the legal definition of woman is so that it can include both males and females makes it a meaningless concept and will undermine women's rights and protections for vulnerable women and girls. Basically, what she was saying is that men cannot change into women, aka trans women are not women, and what this did was really spark an entire debate in the United Kingdom and Europe as a whole, and then a little bit into America, but mostly in Europe, about whether, obviously trans women are women and whether they should be able to speak about feminist perspective. Right. And so it sparked this whole thing. So she's terminated. Go ahead.
I was just going to say she just expects trans women who she thinks, first of all, shouldn't exist to sit quietly in the corner.
Right.
And let the quote unquote, I'm saying this from her perspective, quote unquote real woman take care of the issues.
Yes, exactly. So they're just saying that like trans women, it's a very annoying argument because half of them are very flat out openly transphobic, like I don't care, I don't like trans people, and the other half of them are trying to be diplomatic, like, well, no, we it's not that we don't like trans women, we just don't think that they're really women, and we don't think they should be able to speak on feminist issues because they don't experience sexism. Are you fucking kidding me?
They experience sexism and transphobia and homophobia, and it's the big intersectionality of everything. Like they experience, I'm not saying what they experience is necessarily worse than the sexism that women might face on a day-to-day, depending on an individual person. I don't mean as the group as a whole, but they still experience a lot. It's the gender, like they have so much to work through just to accept who they are, and then you're gonna come and attack them and tell them they're not real.
It's the layers of oppression, right? And it depends on the person. But to say that trans women do not experience sexism is laughable because they very much do. And like you said, and on top of that, they also experience transphobia. So anyways, I mean, there's so many trans people that you don't even know. And their boss has no idea that they're a trans woman and they're experiencing that sexism every day. So you can get the fuck right out of here with telling me they don't experience sexism. Yep. So this blew up in the UK. Forstater, whatever. She sued. I believe she lost the suit. But when she did that, a lot of feminists in the area came forward and were defending her right to be able to say this about trans women. So in December, so that was in May of 2019. In December was whenever the trial came to a head, and JK Rowling tweeted out, "Dress however you please, call yourself whatever you like, sleep with any consenting adult who'll have you, live your best life in peace and security, but force women out of their jobs for stating that sex is real, ? And then hashtag I stand with Maya." So this then evolved into a thing. So then people are like, hey, JK, what is this last little part about women stating that sex is real? Like, what are you implying? And at this point, JK Rowling had the opportunity to say, let me educate myself. Let me think about this. Let me reach out to some of the LGBTQ organizations around the world. Many of the queer people. If
JK Rowling called anybody, they would have fucking answered.
Exactly.
You're fucking JK Rowling. You're not some random ass person on Twitter.
Right? Anybody would have been happy to be like, hey, I loved your books. My kids loved your books. Let me talk to you about this. But instead, Rowling decided that she was going to double down. And in doubling down, she launched an all-out attack on the trans community. So now, she was immediately called out for this. GLAAD
Twitter is not the place to be a racist or a transphobe. Twitter is not the place to do anything, really.
Yes, exactly. So immediately, organizations around the world, GLAAD tweets out, JK Rowling has aligned herself with an anti-science ideology that denies basic humanity of people who are transgender. Trans and non-binary people are not a threat to women, and to imply otherwise puts trans people at work. Human Rights Campaign comes out and says trans women are women, trans men are men, non-binary people are non-binary. CC JK Rowling. And then Charlotte Clymer, who I love following on Twitter, although she supports Biden far too much for my liking, but whatever, she's just trying to help the movement. Charlotte Clymer goes, with J.K. Rowling's defense of horrible transphobia, there are folks claiming trans people aren't valid and citing so-called science, except medical and other science experts disagree with that completely. Here's a helpful list of what the experts think about trans folks. And then Charlotte, because Charlotte always comes with her sources and is like, here's all the science behind it, JK, educate yourself.
And who is she again?
Charlotte Clymer. So she was she's a veteran who, she transitioned after she left the military. And now as far as I know, she most recently worked for the Human Rights Campaign. She's working on something else now, but she's been very involved. Yeah. So
yeah. So basically, if the entire world is coming at you and telling you your viewpoint is transphobic, you don't get to sit there and say, I'm not transphobic. It's right. The same thing when somebody says you're racist and you're like, I'm not racist. I don't care if you're black, white, brown, purple, orange. I don't care. I don't see race.
Yes. So when this happened, then people began to call J.K. Rowling a TERF. And a TERF is a trans exclusionary radical feminist. And people who are trans exclusionary hate when you call them a TERF. Just like apparently, it's funny. This is slightly different, but the same, because there's this show called Hate Thy Neighbor on Hulu, which is about to go off. So you won't be able to watch it. But there's this. They're interviewing the National Socialist Movement, which is the Nazi movement, but they hate to be called Nazis and white supremacists. They also hate when you call them racist, but they literally believe that, like, they have on there one woman talking about how she believes in the genocide of races. Like, she believes, and the guy's like, so you think that like women and children should all be just slaughtered? And she's like, yeah, I do, but I'm not racist. And that's how J.K. Rowling sounds, and that's how all TERFs sound when they're like, look, I don't hate trans people, I just don't value them.
Do you think adding radical feminist to the end of it kind of adds an insult that doesn't need to be in there, though? Like, do you think calling it maybe like a T, trans exclusionary asshole?
Well, I mean, the thing is, I think that what the movement is saying is that that's a radical. There's a radical left, there's a radical right. And you're being radical because the majority of the left supports trans people, and you don't, so thereby you are radical.
Okay, yeah,
you're not part of not part of the greater feminist movement. You think you are, you're talking like you are, but most feminists don't support you, so you're considered radical.
That makes sense.
I mean, I'm sure it's a little dig that gets under people's arms, but also, like, don't fucking be
transphobic.
Yeah, like, you could do that, but no, you don't want to. So then, so Rowling tweets out a couple things talking about how, like, she's not a TERF, and she just believes.
Don't call me a TERF.
Exactly, and she just believes that, sex is sex, and that's just like facts. Okay, guys.
Even though I watched a documentary that said that there were people that were studying gonads, which are you're nuts.
Yeah.
And they said that they found over like 100 variations in that alone. So like there isn't just male and female sex. That's not how it works. It's scientifically disproven.
From your chromosomes to your hormones to your physical genitalia, there are so many variances. It's not that we haven't always had variances. It's that we've force people to conform to one gender. It's not, we've always had it. And in fact, at the end of July, we're going to be talking about the intersex.
Yeah, and I was going to say not only that, but like by saying you're only male or female, you're completely erasing intersex people, which are what, like 10% of the population or something?
Exactly.
There's a decent, I don't remember the exact number, it might be like between 6 and 12, something like that, but it's a good chunk of people.
Oh yeah, it's a good chunk of people. And we're going to be talking about how the mutilation of intersex people to conform to medical ideals of what is male and female.
So JK Rowling, is that your ideal too?
Would you? Yeah, exactly. Did you want us to get rid of all the intersex people because you only want to believe in male and female? Like, just let us know.
Because apparently you're into doubling down. I'd like to see you go all in at this point.
So, So then she releases this whole long essay on her blog about how she's not a TERF and that she what a good person she is. She says, as a much banned author, I'm interested in freedom of speech and have publicly defended it, even to Donald Trump. She just goes on and she writes a whole thing about how she's not really a TERF, but they'll call us transphobic. They'll say that I hate trans people. What next? They'll say you've got fleas. Speaking as a biological woman, a lot of people in positions of power really need to grow a pair, which is doubtless literally possible. And according to the kind of people who argue that clownfish prove humans aren't a dimorphic species. I think I don't know what she's
losing it.
She is,
because she's just trying to make. This is the point where I think she realizes she's in the wrong, but she also knows that she's doubled down so much at this point.
Yeah.
And she's trying to convince herself that she's
right.
What
she says here, she goes before that, she says, in many people, institutions, and organizations I once admired who are cowering before the tactics of the playground. You know, they're talking about how trans people are calling them out for being transphobic because they're supporting her. Mm-hmm. And so she's just, again, she's doubling down on this idea that she's done nothing wrong and people are just being mean little beanies.
Community tell you you're bad. Tell you you're wrong, mm-hmm. and say you're not. That's not how it works.
Right. So
that's like the entire. This is completely unrelated, but just to give our listeners an analogy, this is like the entire Black Lives Movement saying that Trump is racist, and then Trump going, "I'm not racist."
Yeah,
it's like that.
You're just
same
gaslighting
thing.
People to be like that. What you're saying isn't what they think you're saying, right? Mm-hmm. Like you just want us to believe this lie, but we see what you're saying. We can read it, and we know what it is.
You've put it on paper, well, on Twitter,
right?
You've literally written it.
So for the next several months, JK Rowling continued with her transphobic tweets. Just again, further buckling down on this idea that trans people. That trans women aren't real women, asking offensive questions like, if they had a penis, and do you still have your penis? Do you still have your balls? Things like that. Other feminists came in defense of J.K. Rowling and wrote about that too. About, again, look, we're not against any people, but trans women can't understand what it means to be a feminist, and they can't understand that sexism. And I do agree that trans women cannot understand what it's like to be born into that role, but feminists can't understand what it's like to be born into a role you're forced to adopt.
Right.
And then have to still find yourself. But to say that trans women don't experience sexism is a flat out lie. Absolutely denies the truth. You're going to tell me that Laverne Cox has never experienced sexism? You're going to tell me that Janet Mock has never experienced sexism? Fuck that shit. They've experienced sexism. They've experienced transphobia. They've experienced racism. Do not tell me that they don't know what those experiences are.
And as a straight white woman, sorry if you, I don't want to make it sound like it's not anything bad because sexism is horrible, but if that's all you've had to face as a straight white woman, it's not as bad as the people. It's
not like the layered oppression.
Exactly.
I would say it is bad, and the patriarchy, like the having to stand up as a woman in this world is hard.
Yes, thank you for explaining that for me.
Now imagine having to stand up as a woman in this world who also has to fight the fact that she's transgender. It's the layers.
Exactly.
And it's doubly insulting that someone who is not queer, who does not fucking have any kind of education around sex or gender, getting on Twitter and educating us about sex and gender. Like, I'm not fucking trying to educate you on writing fantasy books, am I, JK Rowling? So shut the fuck up, because you don't know what you're talking about, and you've clearly refused to read a single goddamn book on this topic.
And it's very mind-boggling how, as a society, we've kind of transitioned into the place where we don't listen to scientists and doctors anymore, and everybody just wants to believe whoever's the loudest on Twitter and who has the most followers, and it's kind of scary.
Yeah, that's true. I know, I agree. So in the most recent one of her tweets, which is probably the most offensive one to me by far, JK Rowling decides that she's got this new, it is just mind-boggling how she says she's not against trans people when she comes out with this shit. Like, she's just, the mask is off and she's done trying to pretend. Like, everybody called her a TERF, they exposed her. Now she's just like, I mean, she's not going to embrace the title, but she's going to embrace everything that goes with it. So she goes, many, myself included, believe we are watching a new kind of conversion therapy for young gay people who are being set on a lifelong path of medicalization that may result in the loss of their identity and or full sexual function. And what she's talking about in conversion therapy is people that take part in gender affirming hormone treatments and surgery. So like myself.
Right.
So I went to a place for 6 months that was part of the conversion therapy realm. Many people have gone to worse places than me, places where they physically tortured you.
They electroshock you and all kinds of things.
They beat you. They tie you up outside. They make you throw up. They'll show you an image of like, if you're a guy, they'll show you an image of a guy and they'll force you to vomit. They'll shock you. They'll burn you with hot coils. They'll take people and they'll tie them up to a post in the rain and they'll leave them out there all day just to break their will. I did not have to undergo any of that. I went to what would be considered reparative therapy, where they just try to talk you out of being gay. But to compare that to the euphoria that I felt in being able to affirm my gender is by far, for me, the most insulting thing that she said so far.
And I'm just going to say what I've said multiple times on this podcast. As a listener, at what age, if you're not transgender, if you're cis, at what age did you know that you were the gender you were? I've always known I was a boy. I never questioned it. So for the people that are, clearly there's something that they need to explore. And there should be no barriers on that. Let them find out, let them become their true selves. And the fact that anybody is against that just blows my mind. Yeah.
She's calling for basically the erasure of trans people by saying that we can't, like, she, in her initial tweet, she says, call yourself however you want, identify however you want, just remember the sex is sex. And now when saying that gender affirming surgeries and treatment is just as harmful as conversion therapy, she's advocating for an end of gender affirming therapies.
Don't let your children go through this. Don't let your teens go through this. Don't let your teens explore. Don't let them take that medication. Don't let them think about getting that surgery.
Right.
They're ruining their lives.
Anybody. She just says young gay people. Like, what does that mean? First of all, again, erasing the fact that the person's trans and not understanding the difference because you don't fucking understand sex, gender, and identity. Like, you think that orientation and gender identity are the same thing. So again, you could read a motherfucking book, JK Rowling, but to imply that, to deny that to people, to again erase everything that they went through to get to that point and tell them that being true to yourself is like denying yourself. Have you seen the things on conversion therapy? Have you seen what that's like?
She hasn't.
No,
she's never had to even consider it.
She's no clue. Which, by the way, there's a very good show. It's based off of the book Saving Alex Cooper, and it's called Trapped. It's on Netflix, I believe. It's Netflix or Hulu, but it's called Trapped, and it is about a girl going into conversion therapy, and this was recently, like within the last 10 years, and how horrific it is even today. So to compare that to a person being able to finally identify as themselves,
and be like, oh my God, this is fine. Like, this is what I've worked so hard for.
Yeah. I mean, there's not like an argument anymore of whether or not JK Rowling is a TERF. The argument is how much harm she's going to try to bring to trans people.
She has a loud voice, and that's what's scary. Yeah. Everyone knows JK Rowling. That's what makes it so scary. If she was some random person on Twitter, sure, it sucks that they're out there, but they're not going to be able to do much.
Yeah. I think for me, like for a while when she was kind of like being an asshole, I was like, well, I mean, I don't have to follow or like JK Rowling anymore, but I can still appreciate her books, but now I can't even appreciate her books. Like, I always had this fantasy of reading her books to my kids, and now I don't even know that I can do that because not because the books themselves I think are fine, but because like I know who wrote that book and I know what that person thinks of me.
Right.
You know,
That's
I know
fucked
that.
up.
I'm sure there's plenty of authors that think that I'm broken and I don't know that. But I know that JK Rowling thinks that I'm broken. And I don't want my kids to, you know, to ever respect her or follow her or want to listen to her. So, and again, once again, it's that same thing of like, you know, you wrote a book, you wrote about standing up for what's right and for standing up for the muggles of the world.
Right.
And then you turned around and you just became another person that oppressed the very muggles that you know.
JK Rowling is Voldemort.
She is Voldemort. Like,
imagine that, JK Rowling. You wrote a fucking book about this horrible person. Mm-hmm. You know what? JK Rowling looked back in that mirror. she had Voldemort on the back of her head.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's... Yeah.
I actually, on our website, Queer Digest, there was an article shared this morning about a book called Gender Explorers. It comes out on August 1st. Mm-hmm. I pre-ordered it. I recommend JK Rowling pre-order it because I know she's going to listen to this.
Yeah.
And the author actually had a quote in there about what it was like for her, what made her finally transition, because she went to school as a male and lived her life, had 4 children, and then as an adult realized, like, this isn't me. And then she remembered the line from Harry Potter about the mirror. Okay. Then she said she remembered looking in the mirror, or she thought that she would look in the mirror and what would she see as her truest self, and it was her fully transitioned. Like, that's what would make her life happy.
Yeah.
And so, like, that kind of imagery is what J.K. Rowling presents to the world, and then becomes Voldemort.
Yeah, and then she it's like everyone says she thinks she's Hermione, but she's really Voldemort. She's like, who's that evil?
She's that teacher.
Yeah.
That little asshole.
God, the asshole teacher. That is who she is. And it's so sad. It has been really, like, heartbreaking to watch. And I appreciate all the other people in Hollywood, like Stephen King, you know, calling her out, Daniel Radcliffe, like people being like, you know what? No, you're wrong. But it's just heartbreaking to see someone that you respected so much.
She was like a hero of mine for writing those books.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
She was. It's like she was a hero to this entire generation, to our entire generation. And then, you know, she just stopped educating herself, just didn't care anymore. There's also the book Trans Body, Trans Selves, which I always suggest to people. It's just basically like a roadmap to understanding trans identity and everything that has to do with it. Which you could also read, J.K. Rowling. Literally anything that's not written by a TERF, just read, just skim through it. Go talk to an actual fucking doctor, like anything. But yeah, but that's our mini-sode, I guess, on J.K. Rowling. If you still find comfort and peace in her books, I mean, that's on you. I don't think that you have to sacrifice the art for the artist, but I would be careful about supporting her and further.
Right.
I would be careful about buying any of her new stuff or, you know, buying anything that's going to go back to her. Like if you have to have a Harry Potter book, buy it from a used bookstore, right. You know?
And yeah, I agree with that. You can support the art from the artist if the art brings you comfort still. I think it might be hard now because of how... Like in the beginning, sure, she made a couple remarks, but now it's just blatant lack of and refusal of education. Yeah,
it is. And it's willful ignorance. And she's clearly trying to harm the trans community now, which is really painful. Yeah. It's not just that she said a few things about how she thinks on issues. It's now she's attacking the trans community. And so... Whatever.
Fuck you, J.K. Rowling.
Fuck you, J.K. Rowling. You can go with the other villains.
I hope you like sitting next to Mike Pence, Aaron Schock.
Yeah.
I hope you feel real comfortable up there.
I'm sure you and Donald Trump would get along great now. You know, because neither of you believe in educating yourself or growing or evolving. She thinks she's so different from him, but she's really not.
Nope.
It's the same mindset of this is what I believe and I'm not changing my beliefs and nothing's going to make me change. Same thing, JK. You're
what else
not
you got for
different.
us 2020? What else you got for us?
Right? Fucking July. I just want this shit
I'm waiting for
over.
a UFO to come. It's like July. Did you see the meme not that long ago? It was like 2020 what else can go wrong? And then it was just like a UFO that covered the entire sky, and it said July.
Yeah. And at that point, you just walk out, and you're like, you know what? Whatever. It's fine. I don't care. So, yeah.
Stay queer.
Don't get a lobotomy.
We love you, our little allied hookers.
And a little succulent sapphis.
Resist the oppressors such as JK Rowling, our proud homocrats.
And have yourself a trans sodomy circus.
Or don't. And Black Lives Matter.
Bye.
Bye.